the second project in the Precious Pleats, I'm going to be using the rectangle arrow card shape. So just like the square one, you've got your card base that's going to make you an arrow card, but you've also got a lot of other dies. You've got your triangle dies, but you've also got these rectangular dies. And for this project, we're going to be focusing on these little dies in the middle here. Instead of making it an arrow card, we're going to make a regular shaped card, but with these on. And I want to just show you how versatile they are. So if you're thinking, maybe I don't make a lot of arrow cards, don't worry, you've got a lot of dies here that you can still use. So I have die cut everything out, so just to show you how we put it together. So I've taken a card base, if I remember rightly, I've cut this to about 7-inch square. And again, I've just found some beautiful, lovely cardstock that matches in perfect colour with my papers. So I'm just going to put my glue gun on so it starts warming up, and I'm going to stick those on here. Now, it's entirely up to you whether you do this as a side opening or as a tent fold. I think for once I'm going to do it as a side opening. I tend to switch between. If your card's going to be very heavy on the front, then you definitely want to consider doing it as a tent fold because it'll pull over. Actually, I've just talked myself into this. I'm going to do this as a tent fold because I'm going to put some pleated flowers on the front. So I can put that one on first, and then I'm going to turn it round so that it is now a tent fold card. There we go. The joys of making it square. Doesn't matter, I can turn it round. So now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of my pattern cardstock. Talking about cardstock weights, here I have gone to 220 GSM because it's for my bases. I do like a stronger card for my mats and layers. It makes your card base stronger, but it's also because of all the ink. I do think it takes the ink really well as well because you've got a lot of ink on there. So there is my card base, and that is going to be a tent fold card. Now the next thing I've done is I've cut the flounce. So this is one of the dies in this collection, and you can pleat it on all those score lines, but I'm actually going to use it flat, and I've inked around the edges. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to slightly curve those tips there so you can see. So when it sits on the hair, it's got that slight detail. But what I've also done is I've also cut the pleat die. So these are, I've got them here, these are these ones, and I've cut this. But what I've done is I've stuck two together. See if I can find my join, or have I stuck it really well that you can't see? I think it's, no, it's not there. Where is it? There's definitely two here, and I can't see my join. I've stuck it that down so well I can't see, but I've got more than one there to create. It's there, look, I can see it now. There we go. That must be the join. There we are. So I've just stuck two, and then I've pleated it. So really easy to pleat. So I've just pleated it straight down like that. There you go, all the way down. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to stick that onto my flounce. So I'm going to I've just got the top one, and I'm going to turn it over the top, and I'm just going to put a little bit of wet glue on there, and then I'm going to hook that over the top of my flounce. So I've got a little bit of white card showing on that side and a little bit on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to put quite a bit of wet glue all the way down. I'm going to try and make sure I go in a definite straight line. Now you could do just your tape on here. And what I'm going to do is, trying to keep everything out of the way that I don't need, I'm just going to pleat it on to there. There we go. And it'll pick up that glue as it goes. Can you see? So I'm just keeping it out of the way until I'm ready to stick it down. Let me move that out of the way so you can actually see. So you've still got a bit of lift on this side, which is really nice. Oops, sticking because I'm not watching what I'm doing. But it's pleated, and look at this, it's perfectly square. That's because we've used a die to do the cutting, so we haven't had to get our scoreboard out and hope that everything's square. We know it's going to be perfect. So pop that down there, and when we get to the bottom, I'm just going to bend that over and then put another little bit of glue under there to catch. So once that's dry, I can then add in more detail by lifting up these pleats. Doesn't that look pretty? Just adds a little bit more detail to your card. There we go, just lift those up. There we go. Oops. There we are. There we go. So you can just see I've just added a bit of detail. Now I'm happy with that. You can see I've already put foam tape on the back of here, foam pads rather, and I can lift those off, and then that can go onto my card all the way down the side. There we go. Isn't that pretty? So the next bit I've got is, we were talking about the rectangular card, so the rectangle arrow card. So these are from your rectangle arrow card, because you can see I've got the matte layer and the detail layer, and I'm just going to pop these together. So this one is in white with some ink around, and this is just another piece of that pattern paper. We're still using the same pattern. We've used it there, we've used it here, and we're now using it on the top of here. So we're just keeping it all very simple. The only thing we're doing is, in places, we're adding ink just to lift it. So pop that onto there. Oh, let's turn that round and press that down. It's just a bit harder because I've already put the foam pads on. And then we can take these foam pads off. So these are about 3mm foam pads, so it's just nicely going to lift it up away from the card, and that is going to go just there in that centre. And the other bit I've got is also from the die set, is I've got a white matte layer that I'm just going to pop down the centre. By the time I've inked it, it doesn't distract too much. Now what I want to show you is, I've got here the pleated leaf, and this one caused a few questions when we did it on air, because you get your die just like this, and people are saying, well, how do I turn that into a leaf? So I just want to show you. So I've cut it out, and then I've just pleated it backwards and forwards on those score lines. So all your score lines are in there, plait it backwards and forwards, and then what you want to do is open it out and fold it in half. I always do it in this order and score down there. So then you can just push it back to concertina it. What you then want to do, and can you see I've got a little bit of super sticky tape just down there, down this longest length here. And what I can then do, take that super sticky off and bring that up. So I'm holding it tight just there. Can you see, clenching it there, just like you did at fans when you used to make fans at school. And then bring those together. I'm just making sure they hit the right place. There we go. Oop, there we are, like that. Press that super sticky so it sticks. And there we have, sorry, my pleated leaf. It's as simple as that. Now, this is more of a paper, so it's probably about 120 GSM. If you start using cardstock, so if you go up to 220, you're going to get a little bubble in the middle there, just where everything folds. So if you want it to fold neatly like that, then make sure you use your cardstock, paper rather, not cardstock. So I've got that there. And then the other thing I've got is I've got my pleated flower. So I've just cut it out like this. So this one is lovely because it's a repeating die. So I've just started with a long piece of card, cut it once, move the die down and cut it again. So I haven't had to join it, it cuts like that. Now, I do need a little piece of paper, which I thought I'd packed, which I can't see. So let me just cut a piece off there from a piece of waste. And what I've got here is I've got my flower. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to link the two together, and I'm going to just see if I can do it that way there. So I've got plenty of overlap. So I'm just overlapping by a couple. I actually need to put a little bit of glue under there. Now, in an ideal world, I would have glued this down and left it to stick. So try not to use too much, because then with your bookbinding glue, it seals nice and quickly, doesn't it? So let's just make sure that's bitten, and then make sure we can fold it back up again. There we are. Oh, it just moved slightly. There we are. So what we then do is we get our flower, all the concertinaed edges, and then all we need to do, I'm going to do it that way. I want to just then bring it together. There we go. And can you see we've got a flower shape? So can you see what I did? On the points with the flat end at the top, and press it down and push it in. It's as simple as that to make our concertina flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a nice blob of hot glue, put that there, fold my flower, and then just pop it over the centre. Oops, so it catches, and I don't know if that's caught properly, but what I can do is put that like that. I can see the cardstock underneath. Put a little bit of glue in the middle and then press it together, and just hold that for 1 minute while that hot glue just cures. I think my cardstock's moved from underneath because I'm doing it on my glass mat. 1 minute, and that will be there. It's taking already. There we go, just press on there. Now the glue's not hot. Oh, I forgot, it's still underneath a little bit. So I can just cut off the excess there. And that is my pleated flower. Now that's not that pretty. So what I've got here is I've got one of my string flowers, again from the collection. And I'm just going to shape that. Just shape that to there. And then, again, I'm going to use a little blob of hot glue and I'm going to pop that on the centre. That looks pretty, doesn't it? So then all we need to do, we can pop this together. So this is going to be, it's going to be quite pretty, but then it's going to be quite modern at the same time. So let's just pop my leaf on. A nice bit of hot glue to catch that. We can then pop our flower over the top. Make sure the glue sticks nicely in so the glue comes out. We can pop that over there. Then I can get my sentiment, pop that on there. Then from the backing paper, I didn't use a die, I just fussy cut the shape of a butterfly that was printed onto the design, cut that out, and I'm going to pop that on there. So there we go. We've got a nice pleat down one side, and then we've got all of the details. So it just shows you that even though this is our arrow card, all the mats and layers make perfect accessories to your card. And then we've got our pleated flower and leaf.